Hey all, it's Matt, your average gamer, and for this one, we're going to be doing an early game double slash build and guide. This is going to get you strong really early. Within about an hour, hour and a half's time. You're going to be really powerful in the early game, and more importantly, we're going to make a cool samurai build in the process too, and of course be using a katana. This is designed to help new players and also make new characters quickly if you want to do that too. With DLC right around the corner, this is definitely a good one to try. Double Slash is awesome. This is the early game samurai build with Double Slash. First thing is picking the samurai class. This is absolutely the best class for this build. We're going to be focusing on dexterity, vigor, mind, endurance, the basics there. I'm going to name my character Matt, which is my name, of course. And then we're going to be picking the golden seed as our keepsake because that'll give us an extra flask early on. You can customize and design your character how you like. Just make sure you pick the samurai and of course pick the golden seed too, because having that extra flask early on is going to help us a lot. And then of course we're going to be going into the game right away with the katana, and that's a huge bonus. Yeah, this is going to be a powerful one for sure. You're definitely going to like this if you like samurai builds. Right from the start, you're going to start heading immediately and going to the north. We're going to head to this church here. There's going to be a couple things that we're going to grab. After this church, we're going to be heading to Gatefront. So avoid the Tree Sentinel here. If you're new to Elden Ring, you do not want to fight this boss. It's actually one of the tougher early game bosses in the game, so don't mess with that boss whatsoever. Walk around him. Be sure to grab the golden rune out front, and we're going to grab this grace. After you grab this grace, we're going to grab the smithing stone one, which you could actually upgrade your weapons over here, but we're going to be grabbing smithing stones later on. And then we're going to go to the first merchant, which is Merchant Caelid, and we're going to buy the crafting kit because that's definitely something that you want to have. This is an item that could be really helpful later on. We're not going to be using it for the purpose of this video, but I recommend buying the crafting kit early, have it, and that way you can craft things as you go throughout the lands between an Elden Ring at your own leisure. Now we're going to continue on and continue northeast, well, north from this point to Gatefront. So after you're at Gatefront, which you really can't miss if you continue heading on north, you're going to grab the first map. After we grab the first map, we're going to grab the second grace here. We're going to end up heading towards the ravine that's in Aguil Lake. And the important part here is as we continue to move forward, we're going to concentrate on getting some really good levels early on too to make us stronger. And of course, building around our katana, getting double slash, upgrading our weapon, and adding to the bleed too. Let's head to the ravine that's in Aguil Lake. Yep, so that's directly where we're going right there. There's going to be a cave there, and there's going to be an NPC Invader here. Now, I actually beat this NPC Invader pretty easily, but honestly, I've been playing Elden Ring for a long time. If you have difficulty with this fight, though, you can run around until a summon comes, and he will help you with this fight. And that will be Hunter Yura that comes and helps with the fight, and he is fairly useful. After that, go inside the cave. You're going to take on the boss in the cave. You're going to get the boss inside this cave, who is Patches. You're going to get him to surrender at half HP. You only have to get him down to half HP. At that point, you're going to accept his surrender. Because once you accept this surrender, he then opens up as a merchant, and he actually sells useful items. And later in the game, there's a quest line. Even, I believe, you can get a really good armor set off that, by the way. And basically, keeping Patches alive can help you, even though he is a frustrating character. Anyways, we're going to go to the merchant now, and we're going to buy 3 gold pickled fowl foot. And this is going to help us increase runes, which is a huge deal because we're going to be farming the dragon in Caelid. There's a giant dragon in Caelid that you can farm for some runes, and this is going to help us get some extra levels and get stronger. Remember that he sells Margit Shackle, it's useful. You can actually stun the first boss. Now step 7, we're going to be heading to the church in Mistwood. Take the transporter trap in the back of the room and follow me directly on screen. We're going to head to the church that's in Mistwood. We want to make sure we grab the second map too. This will put us right in front of that second map, which is really convenient. And then we'll get to the third church of America where we can grab our wondrous physic, which can be a really helpful item later on in the game. Let's grab this map first. Alright, now we're going to be getting the second map for Limgrave. That's really helpful for us because it'll make it easier to follow this guide. Continue on north. Right there on the map is where we're going. That's going to be the third church of America. Next up, we're going to be grabbing the wondrous physic here. And after this, we're going to be heading towards Caelid. There's a sacred tier here too, right there. Make sure you grab that as well. That can upgrade your flask. It'll allow you to heal more and fill up your FP faster. And then the back of the church, there's going to be spirit springs. We're going to go up those spirit springs in the back of the church and head towards the red area on the map. That's Caelid. And it's important to really go towards this area on the map because guess what? We're going to have our huge farm there. That's where we're going to get a bunch of levels. We're going to get you by the end of this guide, by the way, to around rune level 45 in about an hour, hour and a half time, which is pretty incredible. Head right there towards the red area on the map. We'll catch up at Rotview Balcony. Yeah, so by the way, feel free to explore stuff along the way too. This is a build guide, so if there's anything you see, Elden Ring's a really fun game. Definitely explore, grab what you can grab, continue on, and you can follow this guide at your own pace. From Roundtable Balcony, we're going to be heading northeast, and we're going to head towards Dragonbarrow. Remember the Site of Grace too. You can fast travel at any time. We're going to come back to it later. For now, you're going to follow me directly on horse. I'm going to show this whole part because it could be a little bit confusing, and at one point you have to jump over the cliffs to the other side, and Dragonbarrow has our awesome early game farm. That's going to make you powerful early, very, very fast, by the way, as long as you could do this right. I'm going to explain it in detail how to do the farm part of it. And then, of course, after the farm, as we continue to build around double slash, you're going to be a powerful samurai in the early game for Elden Ring. Yeah, crazy enough, this was actually one of the best early game guides I've done. I had a ton of fun with this one, making this one. I really enjoyed double slash. It could be a lot of fun to use, and the damage ended up being great. I showed it off a little bit in the intro. You're going to see it later in the video too. It ended up being fantastic. Be sure to jump across these cliffs. We're going to grab the next Site of Grace. Yep, we're going to be grabbing this Site of Grace here in Dragonbarrow, and then shortly here we're going to get the map for Dragonbarrow, and then you'll be able to easily see your way around. There's two maps for Caelid. This is the first one we're going to be grabbing, and we're going to grab the second one later too, so you have that whole area open up and can easily find anything. And continue on, we're right around the corner from the map. Once we grab this, I'll show you where the dragon is. We're going to start farming that dragon too, get some serious levels, and start to really make a powerful build. Right here in Dragonbarrow, this is where we're headed. Go directly on there on the map, and that's where we're going to catch up. So how the farm works, the basics of the farm here. Now, this is exactly how it works. Right before the dragon's going to go down, you're going to use a gold Pickled Fowl foot. You can do the last hit on horseback. That's where we are on the map, by the way, if that helps you. After that, you have to book it back to the Site of Grace and rest as quickly as possible. So it's basically a glitch, but the majority of people that play Elden Ring, especially making new characters, will use this because it's really easy to get levels in the early game rather than taking 10 hours to get those same amount of levels. So anyways, you got to be fast with it. Practice runs if you have to, and make sure you rest at the Site of Grace so you keep the dragon alive. We're going to show our first set of levels on screen. So you're going to heavily focus in Vigor and Dexterity. That's going to be our two main focuses here. We're going to want to make sure we have a little bit of Endurance in mind as well, but mainly Vigor and Dexterity. Dexterity for our damage, Vigor to keep us alive, and we do need 15 Faith to use the first buff we're going to grab in a little bit. Yeah, so these are really solid stats for us right now because, again, we're going to get our damage from Dexterity. We want to focus on Vigor, too, so we got some decent levels here. Farm the dragon a second time. We're going to do it 3 times in total, one later in the video. Second time, this is the second set of levels here. Yeah, and continue to focus on Vigor, and then, of course, you're going to want a little bit of Mind, Endurance. Mind's going to be how much we can use double slash. Endurance is always important because that's our ability to roll, dodge, attack, etc. How much stamina we have, essentially, and then Dexterity. Now, back to Rotview Balcony. We're going to catch up here. We're going to head to the fort that's on the right. Yeah, go right to that fort that's on the right. You're going to want to grab the Site of Grace that's down there because behind the fort has our first buff in Flame Grant Me Strength. Now, what Flame Grant Me Strength does, and follow me directly on screen, is it adds 20% more physical and fire damage for a total of 30 seconds. Be careful of the arrows here. That's Rain of Arrows, the Astral Ward that he's using, though it's a much, much bigger version of it, and it can damage you a lot. You do not want to get hit by those. You're going to run past everybody. There's going to be 2 chariots back here, and the item is going to be in between them. And this is an important buff because we're going to eventually be doing a little bit of fire damage. We want to increase our physical damage, and this is one of those buffs in the early game that can make you a little bit overpowered, so we want to grab that. After you grab it, you can trick the chariots there by going around them a little bit. You're going to get out of there, and then we're going to go back to the Site of Grace and follow me on screen. And to be clear, that's the fort Site of Grace that we're talking about. The one we just grabbed, go back to that, follow me on screen, and we're going to head down. We're going to end up heading down and around towards the main pathway that's in Caelid because that's going to head in the direction we need to go to get double slash. A perfect Ash of War for a Samurai, and an Ash of War that's really good late game too. And if you're new, you may not know about the Rivers of Blood, but the Rivers of Blood used to be an amazing weapon, but now for me at least, Double Slash seems to have beaten that, be the better option, and one that you can get really early game too, and definitely makes for a solid Samurai build. Head down that path, continue to left at the Dragon, and you're eventually going to grab the second map in Caelid. Yeah, that path goes around a bend. Now from here, this is the direction we're going to go. We're going to be heading to the town that's up here on the right in Caelid, through the swamp. If you want to go around through the swamp, you can also continue to follow the pathway through the town too. We want to grab the Site of Grace in that town. Now, look exactly where I am on the map. On the rooftops, there's a bunch of items, but specifically, we're going to be looking at a Teardrop Scarab on the map because we're going to want to hit him and grab the Ash of War Double Slash. This is where he is. Now, he can hop around, so be wary of that. He actually hopped around once on me and appeared back on the rooftop. You want to hit him as fast as possible. He's probably going to be about 2 hits for you in total, and make sure you get the Ash of War Double Slash. Alright, and next up, we are going to go back to Limgrave. Now that we're back at Limgrave, I want to show you where to get smithing stones. Right here in Agheel Lake, you're going to go through this entire dungeon, well, mine, by yourself. It's relatively easy. Grab 12 smithing stones in total. They're on the walls, and the enemies in here drop them. And remember, you're a samurai, but yeah, hitting them fast doesn't really work as well, so my recommendation if you want to farm these guys, and they do drop smithing stone ones, you need 12 in total, by the way. They're also on the walls, you could probably easily get 8 or so in there, is use charge attacks, posture break them, and such. Back at the Roundtable hold, we're going to get some upgrades, grab a finger seal. Now, what this finger seal does is it allows us to use our buff. So we can use Flame Grant Me Strength, we could use that buff once we have the finger seal, and then eventually later on we're going to be grabbing Bloodflame Blade too, and that'll allow us to use that as well. Alright, after that we're going to head to the Smither because we're going to upgrade our weapon to +3, which we can do now. And not only are we going to upgrade our weapon to +3, we're going to add Double Slash Ash of War to our starting katana too to make us more powerful. And we're going to get a B in Keen Affinity, which is really cool early too at +3. We'll get a B in Keen Affinity, that's not bad. Double Slash automatically comes with that affinity, and that'll allow us to have better dexterity scaling. And of course, make sure you upgrade it to +3 as well. Because again, we're getting as powerful as we can. We want to do as much damage as possible, and we want to make those first tough bosses. The first 2 bosses of the game could be very tough for a lot of the players, and myself included on the first boss particularly, and this is going to help us get through that much easier. Yeah, it's going to make our lives so much easier being stronger early and just running through stuff. And this one ended up being surprisingly powerful. It ended up being really good even at +3. It ended up being a pretty good build, not just for bleed, but for damage as a whole too. We're not doing much with the Wondrous Physic. Make sure you equip Flame Grant Me Strength for now though, so we can use that buff. You can do it at the Roundtable Hold Grace here. And by the way, make sure you have the finger seal equipped too. You want to have that equipped because that's going to give you the ability to use this stuff. Next, we're going to head up to Stormhill Shack from Gatefront. You're going to go to Gatefront and you're going to head directly north. And you're going to grab the Stormhill Shack Site of Grace. There's a stone sword key here, by the way, and you can also get the jellyfish summon here if you talk to the NPC. She's an important NPC. You should definitely talk to her. After that, we're going to go and grab the Golden Vow Ash of War. I'm going to show it here on the map in a second. This is another buff, and it will stack with Flame Grant Me Strength. We could put this on a dagger, and it'll give us 10% more attack and defense for around 45 seconds or so. That's a huge bonus when added with Flame Grant Me Strength. There it is on the map. Now go back to the Roundtable Hold, and we're going to put the Golden Vow Ash of War on a dagger. You can buy a dagger from the merchant, the Twin Maidens, at the Roundtable Hold, and then you're going to want to equip it. I actually equipped it in the wrong slot here first, but we're going to want it right here in the next slot so that we could switch over quickly, activate it, and then switch back to our katana. That way you don't have to two-hand it to activate it. Now we're going to head up towards the lakes. Right there on the map, you're going to follow me on screen. We're going to head towards a bridge in an area that can bring us around Stormville Castle so we can get to the other side and get to the lakes because we want to grab Bloodflame Blade. And now keep heading towards the bridge that's out here, and once we get to the bridge that's out here, I'm going to show you the pathway which you'll follow and we'll end up catching up at the lakes. Now this area looks like it's going to drop off. It looks like you'll fall right off, but you won't. There's an area under it and a secret passage that leads around Stormville. Alright, and we're going to continue past this bridge. Make sure you grab this crafting book too. This is a decent one to have. It actually has, I think, the recipe for soft cotton too, if you want to walk around and not be seen as much. It can turn your samurai into a little bit of a shinobi there. But anyway, follow the pathway around and we're going to be catching up at the lakes. Yeah, sorry, I was trying to remember what was in that crafting book. I believe it does have soft cotton, though, which can be useful. Now, we're at the lakes. Once you go around that pathway, you can only go one way. And be sure to grab the sacred tear that's in the church here. After that, we're going to be heading down towards the lakes. And again, you want to have as many of these as possible too, because that allows your flask to be upgraded, which is essentially another way of being more powerful. The more you can heal, the more you can fill up your FP, especially with double slash that chews through some FP. You're going to go down towards the lakes. There's only one way to go, and you're going to grab that side of grace. We want to grab the first map here. Yeah, this map's going to be really useful. There's actually 3 maps for Liurnia of the Lakes. It's so big. It's one of the biggest areas in the game. I think it's one of the 2 biggest areas in the game. Later in the game, there's another big area. I do like this one better out of the 2 bigger areas. But anyway, grab this map, and we're going to continue on forward and continue north, basically northwest. And continue on. Keep following me. We're going to want to grab that second map so I can show you where Bloodflame Blade is. What Bloodflame Blade does is it's going to add 40 bleed and a little bit of fire damage to our weapon, and it's perfect for a Bloodflame Samurai build, but also for a Samurai build as a whole with the additional bleed and the fact that we can hit stuff really fast. Alright, we're going to keep going on. I'm going to eventually show you where that is on the map. The lakes are really big. There's a lot of running through this area, so just keep following me. Mainly head northwest. It's going to make your life a little bit easier, and continue to ignore the enemies. I wouldn't recommend taking any of them on at this point, especially the crawfish that are here, because they're incredibly tough and they can do a lot of damage. Once you get to Scenic Isle side of Grace here, you're going to see patches. This is where he ends up moving to. So if you haven't purchased Margit Shackle yet, I recommend buying that from him. If you have 5,000 runes or can get 5,000 runes, that's really helpful for the first boss. And after we rested that side of Grace, I had to rest there to bring up the map. We're going to continue on going forward, and we're going to continue basically north, a little bit northeast here. We want to get towards that map location. We want to grab that so I can show you where Bloodflame Blade is on the map. And this is where Bloodflame Blade is. And that's where it is on the map, and this is going to be a Teardrop Scarab. Now, the other one goes from place to place. This one just runs away, but keep in mind with any of these, for the most part, if you don't hit them enough, do enough damage to them, or take them down, they will vanish and disappear. Yeah, you want to make sure you get them. Now, if you rest at a site of Grace, if you end up not getting them, you rest at a site of Grace, you can come back and grab it, though. The next set of levels is our last set of levels. Farm the dragon one more time, and this is what your levels should look like right here on screen. Probably should have grabbed the 10 Arcane earlier, because it would have made the dragon farm easier the 3rd time. Anyways, the last thing we want to grab here is the Winged Sword Insignia. That's in the lakes too at Stillwater Cave. And you're going to want to take on the boss here. I'm not going to handhold you through the whole dungeon. The boss can be a little bit difficult. For me, I did get poisoned, but overall he doesn't have a ton of HP. A couple tries, you should be able to take him down, get a great talisman. Alright, now it's time to go past Stormhill Shack, up, follow the pathway to Castle Ward Tunnel. I'm going to show you the buffing order here, and we are going to start with the Golden Vow Ash of War. Now, after you use the Golden Vow Ash of War, we're going to use Flame Grant Me Strength. You could use Bloodflame Blade before that because it lasts longer, but I want Bloodflame Blade to last for the whole fight, so I'm going to use that last. And then we're going to make sure we have Margit Shackle equipped, because that can stun the boss. That's going to help us immensely. And once we hit Margit Shackle, we're going to go up and use Double Slash. Use the entire animation, keep hitting the action button. For me, I'm on Xbox, so it's going to be left trigger. I was using an Xbox controller on PC here. If you're on PlayStation, it should be L2. And yeah, I know some people are going to be like, you're going to L2 spam, but yeah, I mean, that's really what you're going to do. You're going to use the whole animation to Double Slash. You're going to be a powerful samurai. You're going to build up bleed really quickly with that. And then when you have opportunities, smaller opportunities, get in regular hits and or jump attacks are also good. And Margit went down in what felt like seconds. It wasn't that long at all. He hit me a couple times, not too bad. If you need to use summons, no big deal. They can help you a lot. And we're going to show the strategy for Godrick too. And then we're going to show off the build at the end here and talk a little bit. Now for Godrick's strategy, I recommend being a little bit more careful with the full animation. For Margit, we can stun him. The full animation, especially in the first phase, can be a little bit easier to pull off with that. As for Godrick, make sure you time it well and be really careful with your movement here. Another thing important about Elden Ring, one of the best tips I can give you early in the game is make sure that you're patient. Patience is key. You want to be aggressive once you know boss movesets. For me, I know more of their movesets, so I can be aggressive. But if you have to take a little extra time to take down the boss, no big deal. Be careful. And I even got a posture break in here. I'm not sure how. I don't know how much poise damage double slash does. I didn't really mix in too many charge attacks or anything there. We did get a posture break. Bloodflame Blade does run out the end here. I end up able to beat him. But if I were playing for the first time, I would recommend going back, activating Bloodflame Blade again, and again, being careful and being patient. Because you get caught in some of the slams or something like that, and it's just going to take you out. At this level, even with 20 vigor, it's just going to take you down. He can hit really hard. Let's go in equipment. We have the Keen Starting Katana. We have it with double slash. We have our Golden Vow Ash of War and a dagger. Finger Seal, Samurai set. We have the Winged Sword Insignia, and then we ended up using Margit Shackle. We didn't do too much with the Wondrous Physic in this one. We're going to talk about stats now. And these were the finalized stats. Flame Grant Strength, Bloodflame Blade, 20 Vigor, 25 Dexterity. Thanks for watching this one. I appreciate you tuning in. I hope this helps you turn into a really powerful early game samurai. If you're not subbed to my channel yet, now's the time to sub. DLC's right around the corner. By the time this video is released, it's going to be only 2 weeks away. Can you believe that? DLC is almost here. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and continue on with this amazing game. Catch you guys soon. Have a great day.